class, we're actually going to get started on our backs. So go ahead and just roll down onto your back. Find a nice comfortable position. If you want, take Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly pose. So soles of your feet together, knees fall out. And this is our first pose, so don't worry about being super bendy here. Go ahead and take your feet longer than you usually do just to start warming up the hips, start getting into those inner hip muscles, the hip flexors. If you do want more of a stretch, if you feel like you're not getting a tone with your feet super far out, walk them in maybe like an inch at a time until you start to feel a nice gentle opening of your hips. And then maybe place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Somewhere you can just feel the inhales and exhales as you breathe in and out. Starting to notice your breath here. Focusing on your breath. And just be mindful of anything else going on in your body. So maybe notice if anywhere is tight. If you feel like you need to relax anywhere else. Or maybe you feel good, like you really want to work on balances today or something like that. Just take this moment. Check in with yourself. And once you've had that check-in, go ahead and just bring your mind's eye to your hands as they lift up as you breathe in and out, and down as you breathe out. Taking a moment, seeing if you can kind of separate yourself from whatever you were doing before this. Taking time to be present. If any worries or thoughts pop into your head, see if you can let them float away, just like a balloon. Whenever I say that, the song, that like 99 Red Balloon song, like gets stuck in my head. So I'm sorry if I ever do that to anyone else. And then from here, we're going to start to deepen our breath. So go ahead, take one more breath at your own pace. And then on your next inhale, take a big breath. Notice your chest filling up. Fill up your belly too. Feel your belly hand lifting. And then exhale. Squeeze it out. Really squeeze your belly button down towards the mat, down towards the floor below you. Take another big breath in. Fill up. Lift your belly button. And exhale it out. All the way up. Squeezing that air using your belly button. Take one more big breath in. Maybe even pull the shoulders out. And then exhale. Squeeze one last bit of air out from your belly button. And then go ahead, help your legs together, closing them like a book. And then pull your right knee back into your chest. And we're going to take a half happy baby pose here, so your left leg goes long. And then you can grab up behind your right knee, your right foot, maybe your right toes. And just pull your right knee into your armpit here, out to the side a little bit. That might feel good. Maybe you rock back and forth gently. That might feel good too. Beginning to open up now the outer hip. So with that Supta Baddha, we work the inner hip. This is going to help stretch the outer hip and the glute a little bit too. And just working to do it gently with these half happy baby poses. And then when you're ready, go ahead and release your right knee, send your right leg long, and then pull your left leg in. So finding half happy baby on the left side, or whichever side you didn't do before, go ahead and switch. Same thing, grabbing behind your knee, your left toes or your left foot. And then seeing if you can relax back. Maybe rocking gently on this side. It's a little bit harder when you're unbalanced, but you can take those little rocks that help you so you don't fall completely over. But it just might feel good. Get a little movement into the hip here. stretching through your outer left hip. And as we move through the practice, keeping those deep breaths we started integrating into our practice when we started with those big belly breaths. And then from here, go ahead and release your left foot. Pull your right knee into your chest so both knees are in and rock side to side. So a little bit deeper rocks now, maybe feeling it on your low back a little bit, getting a nice low back massage. Just rocking back and forth. Nice easy pose here, nothing too strenuous. And then when you're ready, we're going to rock forward and back. So rock and roll along the spine here. From your shoulders to your hips or anywhere in between. Just having some fun with this. And then eventually rock yourself all the way forward into a seat. And then find a child's pose here. So go ahead, take your knees wide. Send your hips back towards the back. Maybe you bring your big toes together to touch. And then sink your chest forward, bringing your forehead down onto the mat, or maybe stack your forearms here. Just finding a child's pose. Again, nice and easy poses to start off. So go ahead and take one more breath here in this child's pose. And then on your next inhale, come on up to tabletop pose. So coming onto all fours here. Wrists underneath your shoulders. Knees underneath your hips, walk them back in if they were wider left to right. I noticed too, if you've pulled your wrists back so far, that you actually have a smaller than 90-degree angle between your wrists and your forearm. That's a way to get a lot of wrist pain. Like even just starting here, this is kind of like your baseline. So your shoulder isn't directly over your hand. You want to actually walk your hands forward so that your shoulder is over your wrists. And actually erring on the side of going too far forward rather than too far back. So I've been getting a lot of questions about wrist pain. I don't know if it's because everyone's at home or we're just doing more stuff with our wrists or something at home. But anyway, taking time, setting up your tabletop here. And then we're going to do some cat-cows here. So on your next inhale, drop your belly, look forward, cow pose. And then exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Pressing up through your upper back and mid-back. And then inhale back into cow pose. Finding that nice round, even in the tailbone, tucking the tailbone, or pressing the tailbone up. And then cat pose again. Now continue these cat-cows for your next few breaths following your inhales and your exhales. Just warming up the spine here. Really puffing up your back in cat. Seems kind of easy. Really engaging, pressing through your hands. And then on cow, really bending. Really dropping the belly, looking up or forward, rather. Getting these nice bends. And then if it feels good here, you can come back to a flat spine. And maybe look left or right, finding a C-spine here, side to side. Getting a little bit of flexion and extension left to right on the spine here. And feel free to take any other moves here, anything else that feels good to you, anything else you like to use to warm up your practice. That's always an option. About 2 more breaths here. Go ahead and even yourself out before we meet back in tabletop. And then coming back to tabletop when you're ready. Go ahead and tuck your toes and send your hips back for a downward facing dog. Again, being really mindful of the wrists here. Really pressing down through your fingertips. So using this J part of your hand between your forefinger and your thumb, really using that to press down into the mat instead of the bony part near your wrist at the bottom of your palm. So just take a moment here, practice pressing into that J part, pressing into your fingertips too. That sometimes helps people if you think about like pressing your fingertips into the mat or clawing down. Like you want to grab the mat with your hands. And then your other option here is if you want, and or you can pedal the heels out here, pressing one heel to the mat, bending the opposite knee. Moving back and forth, stretching out through the back of the legs now. Breathing here. And then when you're ready, walk your feet forward to the front towards your hands and take a wide leg forward fold. I'm going to go ahead and spin just so you can see. Taking your feet wide, almost as wide or wider than the mat. A slight bend in your knees and then sinking your upper body down, just like child's pose, sinking your chest down, finding some relief through the upper body. And then maybe sway back and forth, maybe grab opposite elbows to create a little bit more weight. And then lastly, if you haven't already, let your head hang loose here. Let it fall towards the mat. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Go ahead and take one more breath here. Go ahead and release your hands. Walk your feet back in to hips width distance. And then on your next inhale, slowly rise up to standing. Bend the knees and start to roll the back up one vertebrae at a time. Last thing to come into place is your head, and take mountain pose here. So nice strong mountain pose, palms forward, root down through your feet, feeling nice and tall. Stacking from heels to your knees, to your hips, to your shoulders, to the top of your head. So kind of like building blocks all stacked on top of one another. Taking a breath here. Feeling really strong and sturdy. As we build on with some other poses. Next, we're going to start our sun salutations. So we're going to do some half sun salutations, moving a little bit more quickly to get the blood moving. So on your next inhale, look up, reach up tall, high mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, reach up tall. And exhale, forward fold, dive back down. Keeping a bend in your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise up to standing, reach up. And last round, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And fold back down. Inhale, rise up, high mountain pose. And this time, exhale, chair pose. So feel free to wiggle your feet closer or further apart if you like that. But sinking into chair pose here. Pull the belly button in just like we were pulling it down towards the mat. Always an option to send your hands forward as well, or even cactus your arms. Breathing here in. Exhale, sink a little lower. Big breath in. Sink even lower. Take one more inhale. And forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift here. And then exhale, find plank pose. So stepping back into plank. Always an option to take this on your knees as well. Take one more breath in here. And then lower down knees, thighs, belly, chest, all the way to the mat. And then from here, we're going to take a back bend. So you have the option here of cobra pose. Pull your shoulder blades together and look forward, lifting up your chest just a little bit. Or building on a cobra pose, you can lift up your chest even more, press into your hands, and lift your thighs up for upward facing dog. So either choice here. Cobra pose or upward facing dog. I'll go ahead and call both of those. And then on your next exhale, so we're moving on the exhale here, go ahead and find downward facing dog. Again, option to bring your knees back down, press through all fours, or lift your hips straight back up for that extra oomph you need. Take a breath here. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, empty. We're going to move a little quicker now. Inhale, roll forward. Exhale, lower down. Knees, thighs, chest, or it's one unit. And then inhale, cobra or up dog, your choice on the inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Wherever you end up, we'll always meet back in downward facing dog if you get lost. One more round here. Take a breath in and out. Inhale, roll forward. Exhale, lower down or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Take a breath in and exhale it out. Remember, we're going to press down through your hands. We're going to spend a little bit of time on our hands here. So remember that J, remember clawing through your fingertips. On your next inhale, take your right leg high, three-legged dog. And then from here, bend your right knee and open it up your hips. So my hips opening towards the wall behind me, because my right foot's over here next to the wall. And then I'm bringing my right heel towards my right glute. And as I do that, I'm opening up. I'm really pressing through my right hand though. So I'm really pressing my right hand into the mat. I know it wants to kind of open up with my body, but getting that stability here. And then feel free to circle your ankle or circle your knee here, getting some movement through the hip. Just 2 more breaths here. In and out. Last breath in. And then exhale, come back to three-legged dog. And then inhale, bring your right foot forward. So go ahead and place it between your hands as I fix my clothing. Setting up for warrior one here. So you're going to spin your left heel back towards the ground, somewhere between like 45 and 90 degrees. And then when you're ready, your upper body lifts up. So coming into warrior one here. Feel free to adjust your feet once you get up there. Totally an option as well. And just as before, just like in our chair pose, you have the option here of keeping your hands up, cactus arms, or bringing them to your hips. Always an option. So finding your warrior one, really pressing back through your back left foot. Settling in here, finding a nice, or keeping a nice bend in your right knee. Take a breath in and let it go. One more inhale, and then open up to warrior two. So spinning my hips towards the left side of my mat, right foot still forward. And then my arms here reaching out front and back or taking them to my hips. And my elbows are doing that job, reaching forward and back. Still a bend in my right knee. My left foot's come a little bit more parallel to the back of the mat though, so my left toes are pointing out towards the left. Take a breath in and let it go. Inhale, shrug your shoulders, relax them down. Stay for one more breath in. Exhale, reach forward with your right hand. And then inhale, reverse your warrior. Take your right hand up and back behind you towards your left foot. And then exhale, come back to warrior two, so just where we were. And then from here, straighten your right knee. Spin all 10 toes towards the same side of the mat. Sorry if you completely turned around. But we're just going to take a wide leg forward fold here. So go ahead, take your hands to your hips. And then start to bend at your hips, finding a wide leg forward fold, keeping a micro bend in your knees. And then option to keep your hands at your hips or go ahead and reach down to the ground. Another option to go a little bit further is to actually walk your hands back behind you, so through your legs, and then keep going as far as you want. See if you can let your head and neck hang loose, just like we did in ragdoll. So finding your version of this wide leg forward fold. Take a breath in here and let it go. If your hands are back, go ahead and inhale, walk them forward. And then exhale, we're going to walk our hands towards our right foot. So taking your hands over to the right, start to walk them to the right. Your right toes are going to go towards the top of your mat, so they're going to spin out to the right. And then you're just going to come up onto your left toe. So I'm spinning my foot front flat, up onto my toes. And now it's a little bit easier for me to be in this low lunge here. So feel free to adjust your feet if you need to as well. But from here, we're going to take a low lunge twist. So left hand's going to plant down, and then right arm reaches up. So didn't realize I'm back, my back's facing you guys, but I think you get the idea from here. Left hand is down and right foot is down. So I have opposite hand and foot down if you can't tell. So that's how we're getting the twist here. I'm opening up through my right hand as my right shoulder pulls back, and my right foot is planted down. So that's how we get this nice twist here. Take a breath in and let it go. Inhale, last reach up, and then exhale, bring your hand back down to the mat. And then step, wiggle, walk your right foot back to meet the left for a plank pose. Take a big breath in here, and exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog, just like we did before. And exhale, downward facing dog. Once you've found downward facing dog, go ahead, gently drop your knees. Take a child's pose here. That was a lot of work. We're going to take a moment in child's pose here. Maybe compare your sides, or the left and right sides of your body. See how you're feeling. Check in with yourself and your breath again. And I'm going to use this time to spin around to the other side so I can keep facing you guys and facing the camera. Go ahead and take a break for water too if you need it. So coming back to child's pose, taking another breath in here, letting it go, and then making your way back to downward facing dog. So we can go ahead and do the other side here. So finding downward dog. When you're ready, and on an inhale, lift your left leg up into the sky for a three-legged dog. And then same thing here. Bend your left knee, pull your left heel towards your left glute or towards your right glute. Left heel comes toward right glute. And then opening up my left hip here. Same thing, I can circle my ankle, I can move my knee, draw some circles with my knee. Just opening up the hip a little bit more. This time I'm pressing down through my left hand, really keeping my left hand planted on the mat. Helps me stay up, helps me stay grounded, and really helps with the wrist too. So building strength in those muscles is really important for yoga. I mean, it happens naturally, but sometimes when we bring a little mindfulness to it, it feels really good. On your next inhale, go ahead and come back up to three-legged dog. And then exhale, stay here. Inhale, bring your left knee towards the front of the mat, bring it all the way up, and then plant your left foot as close as you can to your hands. And go ahead, walk your left foot up, setting up your warrior 1 feet for this side. So right foot's going to spin down, right heel comes down, right toes are going out around a 45-degree angle. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lift up into warrior 1 on this side. On this side, pressing back through my right foot. That pinky toe side is really pressing into the mat or into the ground. Take a moment to notice if you have hunched your shoulders up to your ears and try and relax them. Pull them away from your shoulders. I like to say this isn't a contest who can reach the highest, but just doing what works for your body here. Take a breath in and let it go. One more big inhale, fill up, maybe reach up, and exhale, open up to warrior two on this side. So warrior two on the left side. Left toes are facing forward, right foot comes down parallel, so I'm spinning it a little bit more parallel to the back of my mat, or the short edge of your mat if you've flip-flopped around like me. You're not sure what's the front, what's the back. And I'm using my hands to reach forward and reach back. Your arms are starting to get a little bit tired. Maybe spread your fingers wide, so bring some activity into your hands. And then it'll stretch, and then that energy will stretch all the way back into your body. Take a breath in here and let it go. Inhale, shrug your shoulders, relax them down. Take another inhale. Exhale, reach forward with your left hand. So left hand's reaching forward, and then inhale, reverse your warrior. Reach up and back with your left hand. And exhale, come back to warrior two. Back here where we started. And then from here, straighten both legs. Same thing, coming into that wide leg forward fold. All toes point the same direction, probably towards one of the long edges of your mat. And then take a wide leg forward fold on this side. To mix it up this time, if you want to do something different, maybe take your hands and clasp them together behind your back so you can lace your fingers together. You can grab a wrist or grab opposite elbows. That's an option as well. And either press your hands up towards the ceiling or let them start to fall forward. Keeping a bend in your knees. Don't worry if you start to fall. Your toes are pretty good at catching you here. Breathing here. Same thing, even if your hands are bound, see if you can let your head and neck hang loose here. Go ahead and take one more breath here. Exhale, release your hands if they're bound. Bring them back to the mat. And then we're going to walk our hands. We're going to walk them over towards our left side now. So before we walk to the right, now we're going to walk to the left side. So left toes are spinning forward, and I'm coming up onto my right toes. So we're in a low lunge on the other side. Maybe you have different sides of the mat, or maybe you're on the same side of the mat, but you have a different leg forward. If you're side to side like me and you're facing the other way, that works as well. But just checking to make sure you're on the opposite side. If not, go ahead and flip it around. And then from here, I'm going to plant my right hand down on the mat and find that low lunge twist on this side, reaching my left arm up into the sky. So this time it's my right hand and my left foot down. Opposite sides down on the mat. And then the left arm reaching up. I hope I said that right. Left foot, right arm, or right hand. Getting a nice low lunge twist on this side. Take a breath in and let it go. One more inhale and bring your left hand down to the mat for a low lunge. And then take your time, wiggle your left foot out and then back towards your right foot for a plank. Take a big breath in when you get there and exhale, lower down to the mat. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice job here. You guys are doing great. At least I hope so. Take a breath here. From here, walk your feet up to your hands for a forward fold. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and slowly rise up. So coming back up to standing. And then we're going to do tree pose today. So I know I've had you guys on your hands a lot, so we're going to do tree pose. Just put some weight into our feet a little bit more. So start to root your weight into your right leg. Kickstand your left foot. And then when you're ready, start to bring your left foot towards your right leg. Anywhere on your right leg, your ankle, your calf, maybe higher up. All our options here. And then hands go where you want to. So maybe press them together. Or maybe you reach them up, growing your branches even taller, or growing your branches wider. But go ahead, find your version of tree pose. Feel the wiggles and wobbles in your ankle. So at the beginning I talked about kind of unplugging and separating yourself from whatever you're doing. I find that balance is our real test of that. So have we been able to unplug and think about what we're doing right now? Because if you're not thinking about balancing, it's significantly harder to balance. So this is just a reminder to stay focused and on what you're doing. Take another breath in. Stay for the exhale. And then if you want a challenge here, so pull your left knee back in front of you, lift it up towards your chest, and then kick it out, hi-ya, and then slowly bring it down. And shake it out. Tiny bit of ab work there. I had to challenge you guys a little bit. And then when you're ready, we'll do the other side. So root your weight into your left foot now. Kickstand onto your right toes. And then option to pull your sole of your right foot onto your left leg. Finding your tree pose on this side, maybe you take the same hand option, maybe you take a different one. One thing I do like about home yoga is not having anyone to run into or anyone worrying about seeing you fall, unless of course you're me. But you can kind of try out these different versions without worrying about tapping your neighbor on the shoulder. Breathing here. Maybe one side's a little bit easier, a little bit harder than the other, and that's totally normal too. Even different balances, we got a lot going on in each of these. Stay for one more breath in here. Exhale it out, nice and steady. And then bring your right knee up into your chest. Go ahead and pull it in, pull it up. Kick out your right foot again, hi-ya! And then drop your right foot. Nice job, shake it out. And then from here, we're going to take a yogi squat. So take your feet wide again, spin your toes out, maybe 45 degrees, maybe a little less, and then start to sink your glutes down. So sinking down low, option to keep your hands on your knees, or bring your elbows into your knees, finding your version of this yogi squat. So we're stretching out the inner thighs again, but keeping nice and steady and nice and sturdy through the feet. Really press down your feet. If you have your hands together at heart center, really press them together as well. And use that to lift your chest. So wherever you are, lifting your chest up, even up here, pressing into your thighs to lift your chest. That's one of the most important things here in this yogi squat. Take a breath in and out. And then release out of this pose. Lift your butt up. And then we're going to meet on our back. So go ahead and come down onto your back. Go ahead and roll down all the way. Now we're coming onto our back. Brief detour. We're going to set up for bridge pose here. So from your back, pulling your heels in. Pulling them in close so you can tickle them. They're still hips width distance apart. Right to left. Placing your palms on the mat or the ground, and then on your next inhale, lift your hips up into the air. Inhaling them up into the sky. Maybe you interlace your fingers underneath your low back and pull your shoulder blades together even more to lift you up higher, or just create a more comfortable place for you to rest. Inhale, think about lift, and on your exhale, squeeze your glutes together. Take 2 more breaths here, in and out. 1 more inhale, and then exhale, release your hands if they're bound, and roll yourself back down to the mat. And then once your low back hits the mat, go ahead and windshield wiper your legs side to side here. Stretching out the low back, getting it kind of recentered for our next back bend. And then when you're ready, we're going to take another back bend here. So bringing your knees back to center. So for here, you can set up for another bridge pose, or if you want wheel pose, you can take your hands back by your ears and go ahead, and when you're ready, we'll lift up all together, but lift up into wheel. But for bridge pose, placing your hands back on the ground, and then inhaling again, your hips into your bridge pose, or inhaling into wheel pose, pressing into your hands, and lifting up, leading with the belly button, squeezing your core, and then everyone squeezing with your glutes, helping lift you up here. If you want to mix it up on this side, bridge your wheel, go ahead and inhale your right leg up into the sky. Hold it for a breath out, breath in, and then bring it back down to the mat. And then inhale your left leg up to the sky. Press your heel up. Exhale. What are we on? And then on your next breath out, go ahead and take it back down. Again, we'll stay for 2 more breaths here. In and out. Take 1 more slow, filling inhale. And then roll back down to the mat. Whew. If you liked it last time, go ahead and windshield wiper your legs side to side here. Back and forth. Again, resetting the back. And then from here, pull your knees into your chest and take some circles here just to open up the low back a little bit more. And then we're going to rock and roll again along the spine, back and forth, until eventually we come to a seated pose for our hip opener today. So I thought we'd do cow face pose today, just to mix it up a little bit. We do a lot of pigeon on our back, so if you like that, feel free to go back to that. But for cow face pose, I know we've done this in a Monday night class before, but we're going to start with our right leg, and we're going to walk our right leg underneath our left leg and over to the left, so as far as you can go. It's a little bit hard to see, especially with realize I have black leggings on today. It's a little bit harder to see. But my right foot is over on the side, so it's almost like I'm coming into like a really wide cross-legged pose, but I'm going to keep going further. So now I'm going to take my left leg and walk it over to the right side. And then from here, I'm going to stack my knees on top of each other. Now, again, it's hard to tell with the black leggings, but my knees aren't even like right on top of each other. They're a little off. But if you can see, my feet are on opposite sides, and then I'm going to flex my feet. So I'm flexing my toes, pulling them back towards my knees. And I'm squeezing my thighs together here. So that's where this really comes in, is you're squeezing your thighs together, getting a stretch through both outer hips here. It really depends on your body, your hips, if you're feeling more on the top or the bottom. You might notice here you might be rocking onto your right glute a little bit more. That's totally fine. You want to think about pulling your left hip down, but you might not reach the ground with it. And then I promised before we do a full cow face. So if you want to stay here, stay here. Take your hands to your ankles, or maybe they reach out. Or for full cow face, you're going to take your left arm up. Your left elbow reaches up, and then you bend your elbow and reach for your upper back. So my palm is on my upper back here. And then my right arm is going to reach around the bottom. My elbow points towards the ground. And then I might grab onto my shirt, or if I can reach, I might hook my fingers together. So I'll go ahead and show you from the back. So right hand reaches up to my upper back, left hand comes around the bottom, and then I'll show you the finger grab while I can grab it. Wherever you can grab, or go ahead and grab your shirt. So holding onto your shirt is another option as well. If you got anything lying around, like an extra shirt strap of some sort, you can use that as well. Oh wait, wrong side. Sorry, showed you the wrong side. But anyway, left arm is on top. Taking a breath here. I know that took a lot of time to explain, but it's a really fun pose. I like doing it. So go ahead and take one more breath in here and let it go. Last breath, try and sink in. Try and feel your body in this pose. And then go ahead, release your arms if they're bound. And then last time I showed you how to get to the other side, you can just go ahead, unwind your legs and go to the other side with your right leg on top. Or if you want to do the super fun way to switch to the other side, you're actually going to press into your feet. And then I'm actually going to spin my butt up and over to the other side. So it's kind of like untwisting and retwisting. So I'm going to take my hands over to the right. And then, like I said, lift my butt up into the air, spin my feet around. This is real fun for the internet. And then my hands are coming over to what was my left side. And then come back down. Woo. So now, because I twisted back, my right knee is on top. So I'll show that to you again. You can kind of take a look at the screen, see how it works. But anyway, I'm going to untwist and then retwist. And one more time, so I'm back on the right side. But again, just think about untwisting however it makes sense to you to untwist. Not worrying about rights and lefts. And then I'm going to continue to walk my body over and then twist again. So if that made no sense, you're going to reset with your left leg on the bottom, left knee pointing forward, and then right leg on top. Again, my feet are back on opposite sides. I'm flexing my toes, finding my hips. This time I'm on my left glute, pulling my right hip down. And then for my arms this time, my right arm's going to go on top. Reaching back for my upper back, and then left hand goes on the bottom. So finding your version of this cow face pose, whether, it's a little untraditional, that's fun too. But breathing here. Finding the stretch in your hips. It's okay if your knees are a little bit separate too. I forgot to mention that before, but if they're a little bit more stacked like fire logs as well, that might feel good. You might get more of a stretch there. And then as you continue to work on cow face pose, your knees will come a little bit closer together. But it might be the opposite for you. Some people do prefer cow face to fire log. They find fire log a little bit harder, which is with your shins stacked. But again, just all depends on your hips. Go ahead and take one more breath in here. Exhale it out. And then we're going to unwind from this side. We're going to meet on our backs, so go ahead. Release your legs, maybe give them a little shake back and forth. And then we'll go ahead and roll down onto our backs. And And then from here, pull your knees, and we're just going to do a little supine twist to end class. So pull your knees up so that your calves are parallel with the ground. There's a 90-degree bend in my knee and a 90-degree bend in my hips. And then I'm going to take my arms out to the side or bend them in goalposts and gently drop my knees over to the right. So just dropping them down, my shins are together. And maybe they come all the way to the ground. Or maybe I just tap my feet to the ground. You can also let your legs go at a different angle as well to get more or less of a stretch. But just finding what works in your body, stretching out the left side body. I'm pulling my left shoulder down into the mat. And just relaxing here. Breathing here. Letting as many muscles as you can relax into the mat. Starting to relax down, winding down from the practice. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and take your knees to the other side. So I'm going to inhale them up, back to center. And then over to the left. Dropping my shins to the left. And again, making any adjustments that feel good. This time I'm plugging my right shoulder into the mat and I'm gazing out towards my right for a full body stretch on the right side. As I exhale, I sink a little bit deeper into this pose. Go ahead and take one more breath on this side. Exhale it out. And then slowly unwind yourself from this side. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and end class by pulling your knees in and just giving yourself a nice big hug. Really squeezing and tight, little self-love. Thank you for coming here, body, and doing this with me. And then go ahead, start to release from this hug. Let yourself relax completely onto the mat. Feel free to take any other poses that your body needs, or just make your way into Shavasana, into your final resting pose. Getting nice and comfortable here, letting your feet flop out, fingertips fall down. I'm really just taking these last few moments to go ahead and relax. Let your entire body weight fall into the floor or the mat or anywhere you are. Or otherwise finding a comfortable position. So as we end class here, I just wanted to thank you all for joining me for this yoga class. It means a lot to me that you all tune in, sometimes every week, for this yoga class. But for your final Shavasana, I invite you to go ahead and play your favorite song, set a little timer, or just count your breaths for a few minutes here, taking this time to completely unwind and relax at your own pace. But again, lastly, thank you all so much for joining me. The light in me sees and honors that same divine light that exists in each and every one of you. Namaste.